The camera pans across a sunset-drenched beach where a muscular man chases a laughing 6-year-old girl. As they collapse into the sand, his dog tags glint in the fading light. A voiceover cuts through the idyllic scene. What would you do if 3 of the world's wealthiest people were suddenly competing for your heart, and offering $100 million to the charity of your choice if you choose them? Commander Jack Reeves never expected to become the center of America's most controversial reality show. But when billionaires make outrageous bets, ordinary lives get caught in the crossfire. If you're wondering whether true love can survive the ultimate test of wealth, power, and sacrifice, stay with me until the shocking final minutes. Trust me, you won't see this ending coming. Hit that like button now and subscribe to catch our next incredible story of love against impossible odds. ******. Jack Reeves stared at the letter in his hands, reading it for the 3rd time. The embossed letterhead belonged to Pinnacle Entertainment, one of the largest media companies in the country. The contents seemed like an elaborate prank. Dear Commander Reeves, we are pleased to inform you that you have been selected as the central participant in our groundbreaking new series. He ran a hand through his close-cropped dark hair and glanced at the photo of his daughter Emma on the mantel. At 36, Jack had survived 3 combat deployments as a Navy SEAL, lost his wife to cancer 2 years ago, and was raising their daughter alone while still serving his country. The last thing he needed was to be part of some ridiculous dating show. But the letter mentioned a $100 million charitable donation. That kind of money could fund the foundation he and his late wife had dreamed of starting, one that would help military families dealing with terminal illness. For Emma's sake, for Sarah's memory, could he really say no? His phone rang. The caller ID showed his best friend and fellow SEAL, Marcus. "Tell me you got one of these letters too," Jack said without preamble. "No, but I've been getting calls about you all morning," Marcus replied. "It's all over the news, man. 3 billionaires made some crazy bet at a charity gala last night. They're competing to see who can win over, and I quote, America's most eligible hero. That's you, apparently." Jack's stomach dropped. What the hell? Look, I know it sounds insane, but hear me out. This could be good for you. You haven't dated since Sarah. And the money. I don't need to be reminded about the money, Jack cut in. But Emma's already lost her mother. I can't turn our lives into some circus. Just meet with them, Marcus suggested. See what they're offering. If it's too crazy, walk away. Jack looked again at Emma's photo. His daughter deserved a stable life, not a media spectacle. But that money could secure her future and honor Sarah's memory in a way he never could on a military salary. Fine, he finally said. One meeting. ******. The Pinnacle Entertainment offices occupied the top floors of a gleaming skyscraper in downtown Los Angeles. Jack felt out of place in his simple navy suit as he was escorted to a conference room with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. 5 people waited inside. The network executive, Vivian Chen, greeted him with a firm handshake. "Commander Reeves, thank you for coming. I understand this is an unusual situation." "That's putting it mildly," Jack replied. Vivian gestured to the others. "These are representatives for our 3 participants. They'll explain the concept, and then you can decide if you're interested." A polished man in an expensive suit stepped forward. "Commander, I represent Alexandra Mercer, founder of Mercer Technologies. She was impressed by your military record and your dedication to your daughter. Ms. Mercer believes you embody the values she admires." Jack had heard of Alexandra Mercer. She'd built a tech empire from nothing and was now worth billions. She was also known for being intensely private. The second representative, a woman with a British accent, spoke next. "I'm here on behalf of Elijah Stone. Mr. Stone made his fortune in sustainable energy and admires your service to country. He believes you two share a commitment to making the world better for future generations." The third representative was younger than the others, with an air of casual confidence. I work with Darius King. He built King Entertainment from a small production company to a global media empire. He appreciates your discipline and resilience, qualities he values highly. Jack looked between them, bewildered. So 3 billionaires I've never met want to compete for my affection? Based on what? A file someone compiled about me? Vivian stepped in. The concept is more nuanced than that. Each of them made a pledge at the Oceanside Charity Gala. They were discussing what makes a worthy life partner: character versus wealth, background versus potential. One thing led to another, and they made a wager. A wager, Jack repeated flatly. Yes. Each believes they can form a genuine connection with someone who represents values they admire. They chose you because of your service record, your dedication as a father, and yes, your compelling personal story. And the $100 million? The winner will donate that sum to the charity of your choice. The others will each donate $25 million. So regardless of the outcome, your chosen cause receives $150 million total. Jack's mind raced. That kind of money could help thousands of families like his, military spouses left alone to care for dying partners while trying to raise children. What exactly would this involve? He asked cautiously. 3 months. You'd spend 1 month getting to know each of them. No cameras in private moments, but interviews and group activities would be filmed. At the end, if you form a genuine connection with one of them, you announce your choice. If not, you walk away, and the charitable donations are still made. Jack thought of Emma. And my daughter? She remains your priority. We work around your schedule with her. She's not featured unless you decide otherwise. Jack stared out at the Los Angeles skyline. 3 months of his life in exchange for helping countless families like his. For creating Sarah's legacy. I need to think about it, he said finally. Vivian nodded. Of course. But there's one more thing you should know. The 3 principals are waiting to meet you today. Just a brief introduction, no cameras, no commitment. Jack hesitated, then nodded. All right. Let's get this over with. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. They led him to another room, more intimate than the conference space. 3 people stood as he entered, and Jack immediately felt the weight of their collective scrutiny. Alexandra Mercer was tall and striking, with dark hair pulled back in a severe style that emphasized her sharp cheekbones. At 42, she had the confident posture of someone accustomed to commanding rooms. Commander Reeves, she said, extending her hand. Her grip was firm, her gaze direct. Thank you for considering this unusual proposition. Elijah Stone was older, perhaps in his early 50s, with silver threading through his dark hair and laugh lines around his eyes. His handshake was warm, his British accent refined but not pretentious. Quite an extraordinary circumstance we find ourselves in, he said with a self-deprecating smile. I hope we haven't completely upended your life. Darius King was the youngest of the 3, barely 40, with the easy charisma of someone born to entertain. His handshake turned into a clap on the shoulder. The man of the hour. I've got to say, your file doesn't do you justice. Those rescue operations in Somalia? Legendary stuff. Jack maintained his composure, though he felt distinctly like he was being sized up as an acquisition rather than met as a person. I appreciate you all taking the time to meet me, he said carefully. But I'm still trying to understand why 3 successful people would want to participate in something like this. Alexandra spoke first. I built my company on identifying exceptional talent. People with integrity, resilience, and vision are rare. When this unusual wager arose, I saw an opportunity to connect with someone who embodies qualities I value. Elijah nodded. For me, it's about legacy. I've created sustainable technologies, but what matters is the world we leave for our children. Your dedication to your daughter resonated with me. Darius grinned. I'm in the business of stories, Commander. And yours is compelling: sacrifice, loss, perseverance. Plus, I never back down from a challenge. Jack studied each of them. And none of you see any issue with turning someone's personal life into entertainment? Alexandra's expression remained neutral. The format is unusual, yes. But the intention is genuine. The money goes to charity regardless, Elijah added. That's not contingent on your participation. Darius leaned forward. Think of it as a platform. Your story could inspire others. And the charitable impact would be enormous. Jack considered their words. These were people accustomed to getting what they wanted. Yet there was something in each of them that seemed sincere: Alexandra's directness, Elijah's thoughtfulness, Darius's enthusiasm. I need to discuss this with my daughter, Jack said finally. She's 6, but she's smart. If this affects our lives, she deserves a voice. All three nodded, and Jack saw something like respect in their expressions. Take whatever time you need, Alexandra said. As Jack left the building, his phone buzzed with a text from Marcus. Well? Are you going to be America's next reality star? Jack stared at the message, then at the city around him. Somewhere in this sprawling metropolis, 3 billionaires were waiting for his answer. 3 people who could change the lives of countless military families with a single donation. For Sarah, he thought. For Emma. For all the families like ours. He texted back, I think I might be. *****. Emma sat cross-legged on her bed, her stuffed seal clutched to her chest as Jack explained the situation in terms a 6-year-old might understand. So these people want to be your friends? She asked, her brow furrowed in concentration. Jack smiled. Something like that. They want to see if one of them might be someone special in our lives. But it would mean some changes for a little while. People might take our picture sometimes. Emma considered this. Like when Mommy was sick and the newspaper came? Jack's heart clenched. When Sarah was diagnosed, their community had rallied around them. The local paper had done a story about a fundraiser for her treatment. A little bit, yes. But more people would know about us. Would we still have our special Saturdays? Emma asked, referring to their weekly beach trips. Absolutely. That's non-negotiable. Emma was quiet for a moment. Would one of these people be like a new mommy? Jack gathered her into his arms. No one could ever replace your mommy, sweetheart. But someday, it might be nice to have someone else who loves us both. Someone who would want to hear all your stories and help me make your favorite pancakes. Emma nodded against his chest. The ones with blueberry faces? Exactly those. Okay, she said simply. But I get to meet them first. To make sure they're nice. Jack kissed the top of her head. That's my girl. Always looking out for your old dad. Later that night, after Emma was asleep, Jack called Vivian Chen. I'll do it, he said. But I have conditions. Name them, Vivian replied. Emma's involvement is minimal and on her terms. My SEAL team and our history are off limits unless I choose to discuss them. And I want a psychologist available for Emma throughout this process. Done, Vivian said without hesitation. Anything else? Jack took a deep breath. I want to meet with each of them privately before we start filming. No cameras, no crew. Just conversations. There was a pause. That's unusual. But I think they'll agree. Good, Jack said. Because I'm not going into this blind. If I'm going to open up my life, and my daughter's life, to these people, I need to know who they really are first. Alexandra Mercer's office occupied the entire top floor of her company's headquarters. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered a panoramic view of San Francisco Bay, but the space itself was surprisingly minimalist. No artwork adorned the walls, just screens displaying data streams and project timelines. She greeted Jack with the same direct manner as their first meeting. "Commander. Thank you for coming." "Jack, please," he corrected, taking the seat she indicated. Alexandra nodded once. "Jack. I assume you have questions." "Several," he confirmed. "Starting with why someone who values privacy as much as you do would agree to something like this." A flicker of surprise crossed her face. "You've researched me. Wouldn't you, in my position?" The corner of her mouth lifted slightly. "Fair point. To answer your question, calculated risk. My company is launching a major initiative in adaptive AI for medical diagnostics. The publicity from this arrangement could accelerate adoption." "So this is a business decision?" "Partially," she admitted. "But not entirely. I've dedicated my life to building something meaningful. That leaves little time for personal connections." "And you think a reality show is the solution?" Alexandra's expression remained composed, but Jack noticed her fingers tense slightly on the desk. "I think conventional methods haven't worked for me," she said carefully. "And I respect efficiency. This format, however unorthodox, eliminates months of superficial dating rituals." Jack studied her. Beneath her polished exterior, he sensed something familiar, the isolation of leadership, the weight of responsibility. "What happens if you win this competition, but we have no connection?" he asked. "Then we part ways amicably, and your chosen charity still receives significant funding," she replied without hesitation. "I don't pursue lost causes, Commander." "Jack," he reminded her. For the first time, she smiled genuinely. "Jack. Now, may I ask you something?" He nodded. "Why did you agree to this?" Jack considered his answer carefully. "For the same reason I joined the SEALs. Because sometimes the hardest path leads to the greatest good." Alexandra's eyes narrowed slightly, assessing him. "Most people would have led with the money." "I'm not most people." "No," she agreed. "You're not. That's precisely why we're having this conversation." As Jack left her office, he realized Alexandra Mercer was nothing like he'd expected. Behind her carefully constructed facade was a woman who had sacrificed personal connection for professional achievement, and was perhaps only now questioning that choice. *****. Elijah Stone met Jack at a community garden he'd funded in a formerly neglected neighborhood. Unlike Alexandra's sterile office, this space teemed with life, vegetables growing in neat rows, children helping elderly volunteers, a sense of purpose in every corner. "I find boardrooms stifling," Elijah explained as they walked among the plots. "This is where real work happens." Jack watched a group of teenagers learning to harvest tomatoes. "You built this?" "Provided the resources," Elijah corrected. "The community built it. They just needed someone to believe in their vision." There was something genuinely warm about Elijah. At 53, he carried himself with the easy confidence of someone comfortable in his own skin. "Your file mentioned you lost your wife," Jack said directly. Elijah's expression softened. "Yes. Breast cancer, 15 years ago. Before my company took off. Before the money." "I'm sorry." "As am I for your loss," Elijah replied. "It changes you, doesn't it? Makes you reassess everything." Jack nodded. "Emma was 4 when Sarah died. Some days I still expect to hear Sarah's voice when I walk through the door." "It gets easier," Elijah said gently. "Not better, but easier. My Elizabeth would have loved this garden. She was a biology teacher." "Sarah was a nurse," Jack offered. "She wanted to start a foundation for military families dealing with terminal illness. That's where the donation would go." Elijah nodded thoughtfully. "A fit